Well, hello, Wendy. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, let me check. I've got a pulse.
That's
I'm
always
doing,
positive.
I'm doing better than most people. No, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being a guest on my show today.
Thanks for having me.
As I said in the introduction, you are really a unique guest for me because I have never had a breathwork facilitator on the show. I don't know what a breathwork facilitator is. I only know I've been breathing for most of the days of my life. It seems to be working okay. But if
Yeah.
you can help me do a better job at that, that would be absolutely fabulous. But before we dive into that, tell us a little bit more about you, about Wendy Wylde, um, how you got started, what led you into this line of work. It's all yours.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Um, well, I've lived many, many places. I've lived all over the United States. I spent a good chunk of time in Hawaii, which is amazing. I grew up with self-employed entrepreneurial parents that always owned their own business. So if you grow up in that environment, you learn how to run a business as you're learning how to like walk and ride a bike and do all of those things after school. You go to the office or the shop and you participate in the family business. At least that's how it ran in my family.
Now,
So,
hold on. What was the family business in Hawaii? Were you renting
oh, there were all
surfboards?
kinds of things.
Oh, well, give us a clue here. I want the whole ball of wax.
So, my father has always been a car enthusiast, a mechanic, specializing in Corvettes. And so, from
Oh,
really young age, he had his own mechanic shop that then evolved into Corvettes only. Um, my mom worked in the office doing the office things and then my uncle joined the company and my brother and I and like we did it all, so we kind of grew up in that environment. And then later on, they divorced and they remarried, and then it got even more interesting. And
ooh,
my mother and my stepfather, they did lots of different things. My mom was a real estate agent in Southern California during the 90s, the boom, when it was kind of
what
amazing.
part of Southern California?
Out by Magic Mountain, Santa Clarita,
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
out
no,
there.
yes.
So, yeah,
Valencia.
the high desert turning it into the urban sprawl.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, so pretty big variety of entrepreneurial pursuits on my parents' behalf that I grew up around and learning from them and seeing how hard they worked and how important it was to them to do things their own way and not be, subject to the rule of a boss or a corporate culture or those kinds of things, that they really kind of forged their own way. My stepfather's also heavily involved in electronics components, which is like it's in everything we use, but you never see them. So he could say the name of the company or the name of the product and be like, yeah, whatever, but it's in your TV, it's in your computer, it's in your iPhone, it's in everything. So uh,
Okay.
kind of a pretty big variety. So
Yeah.
so, coming from that background, I've been self-employed most of my life, and I've tried a lot of things as well. Had a lot of different business partners over the years. I've done a stint as an employee, but I was running a retreat center, a large facility here in southern Utah where we rent cabins and we rent event space and we hold corporate events. And I started out there as a consultant, self-employed person, helping with their small business, um, getting it off the ground, I did their website, I did their social media, like trying to get them launched. And then the general manager position became open. So I took that and I've been doing that for a while. And I've been shifting out of that. Um, so yeah, I do a lot of different things.
I think that's exciting. You share some commonality with a lot of the guests I've had on the show, and that is they do a lot of stuff. And it's
Mm,
it's not that they graduate from college or whatever and immediately start a business, and all of a sudden they're zillionaires with the very first business that they ever started. That's pretty rare. So I think that's great. And I know a lot of our listeners can definitely understand and relate to that because we're kind of all in the same boat. we all tried a bunch of different stuff until we finally hit on the one thing that kind of awakens our passion and we like to do. We find a lot of enjoyment out of it, and it's kind of like, doggone it, I'm really good at this. And so people seem to like it and they give me money. So we're going to continue to do that.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
that's
So,
great.
sort of my evolution of how I got to where I am today with the breathwork facilitating is because of all of those um, previous experiences. I was a real estate agent for a long time in Hawaii, also owned home inspection businesses, did appraising. Like, basically, I tried to do things that were coming from my experience, that I had some skills with, that I could make some money at
Yeah.
and not have to have a full-time job. I raised two kids and it was important to be home with them as much as I could. But, being self-employed, you're never home. I mean, if you're home, but you're still like
That's true.
on the phone, on the computer, you're always doing something.
Yeah.
Um, but what really evolved for me was I hit burnout. I hit extreme overwhelm and burnout with trying to do it all, trying to make it all work, trying to make sure everybody's needs were met and all the funding was there and everything was going like it was supposed to, and trying to grow and expand. And I hit burnout and I needed to do something to sort of rescue myself from that space. And I tried a lot of things there too.
Yeah.
And I found breath work. And breath work was the key that unlocked the door for me. And that's why I want to share it with other people, specifically other business owners, other maxed out, overwhelmed, heading for burnout humans, so that you can still stay in the game, that you can still pursue those passions, but not be so exhausted that your health takes a toll
Yeah.
and then you lose the ability to keep functioning.
So explain to us what breath work is and how you facilitate breath work.
Well, like you said, we've all been breathing.
Yeah.
You've been breathing since you were born, since day
Yeah.
one. And the unique thing about our breath is that it operates automatically without us thinking about it, and we can take control of that. There are many parts of our body that function automatically, the autonomic nervous system, like our heart beats just fine without us thinking about it. Our body digests food, we put it in the mouth and it does its thing. There's all of those processes that are happening all the time with no input from our conscious thinking. But the breath is unique in that we can choose to alter our breath pattern. We can hold our breath, we can take a deep breath, we can change the length of the inhale versus the exhale. So it's a really unique piece of our physiology. And it's really the link between our subconscious mind and our conscious mind. Bridge.
Well, this is fascinating. Okay, so while you were talking, I tried to take a deep breath, but I found that breathing is I've been breathing most of the time, except
Mhm.
for that one time where they had to drag me out of the pool. I just started breathing for a
Mhm.
little while, but then I got better. So
Awesome.
other than that, I so how can I change my breathing to give myself alleviate some stress, become a little bit more intuitive, and reconnect with myself and everything else around me? What do I do?
Well, there's a lot. There's actually a lot to it. Like it's very simple and it's also not easy, right? Like just
Right?
breathe differently. Most people who live in our Western culture with high pressure, high stress, run, 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 go, go, go. We breathe very shallow. We breathe up here in the top of our lungs and our chest. When we say take a deep breath, most people go and their shoulders go up. And that's not really a deep breath. It's kind of a loud breath,
Yeah.
but it's really shallow. A deep breath is way down in the bottom of our lungs. And that's where we have the most connection with the capillaries and the alveoli, or it's like where the blood flow is really rich, is down in the bottom of our lungs.
Okay.
We don't breathe that deeply. So the most efficient breaths are way down deep in our lungs. So when I'm working with someone one on one, first thing we do is a breath assessment to see, like, are you breathing shallow? Are you breathing deep? Are you breathing, like, how are you breathing? Where is it going? And then where we can improve. And then some of your goals. When someone like you, Mike, that you speak all the time, like teachers, presenters, speakers, while you're speaking, you're not taking very deep breaths. And the big sighs and the pauses and all of those things are something you've probably worked to eradicate from the way you present because they're distracting to the audience.
Okay.
But what you're doing is starving your body of oxygen while you're doing that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So then when we have low oxygen, our body thinks we're in high stress. We think we're being chased by a bear. We think we are under imminent threat. And really, it's just that email we have to send, or that phone call we have to make, or that customer that we know is irate on the other side of that door. And it's not necessarily a physical threat, but our body responds like it is. So learning how to shift gears and take your body out of fight or flight, high stress mode, and bring yourself back into a state of regulation and calm helps you to be more effective at your job,
That's
at
great.
the task at hand.
So I have some questions and a comment. So, um, so I'm also, a lot of folks know that I'm also a musician and I'm also a
Mm,
singer.
awesome.
So when I first started taking vocal lessons, and I went into the teacher, and he tell me if I'm doing this right or this is kind of what you're doing. So I'm standing there and he had me sing some notes, and then he's watching me and he stops and he goes, "Well, that was horrible." I go,
Oh,
"What?" I thought it sounded, and he goes, "You know what? You don't know how to breathe." And I go, "Well, I'm breathing now." And he goes, "No, no, no. First, before you can learn to sing properly, you have to learn how to breathe." And like when you were like lifting your shoulders when you're breathing, he goes, "That's not how you do it. It's all down here. You got to get down low." And he says, with a singer, he says, "I know you." Most singers and performers, entertainers, like we're all really vain, but here's what I want you to do. Take that deep breath. Don't lift up your shoulders, but pooch out your stomach a little bit to make room for the air and then push." He says, just push that air out. And he taught me how to breathe. And by so doing that, I I could hit notes that I couldn't hit before just because I was breathing better. And I got to tell you, even though the lessons are only like an hour, but during that time where I was breathing properly, I felt really good. Is that
imagine that.
something? Is that along the lines of what you're teaching folks to do?
Absolutely. That's
Oh,
exactly correct.
that's cool.
The more we can make a conscious choice to breathe like that, the more effective you are at singing. That's a clear line. You can see how that happens, but how it elevated your mood as well. And what it does is it brings more oxygen to the front of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, where you have more problem solving ability, more logic and reason. So when you do that, you're really helping your brain.
Really? Wow. That could be the explanation why as soon as I got home, I started doing calculus. No, I'm just kidding.
But you might have had some really great ideas or
Well,
had some aha moments during those breathing sessions.
well, actually, I did. And what I found helps is that when I'm being creative and I'm writing music or writing a song or trying to think of lyrics, um, it's much easier when your brain is fully functional or mostly functional. It's like, wow, that's a great idea. I need to write that down. And it's probably the main reason is because I actually have oxygen in my brain. It's getting rid of
Exactly.
that brain fog and I can think better. So
Yep. That
that's
exactly.
fabulous.
And that's really only one aspect of it. There's many other aspects of the breath that are like you can do some really interesting exercises that expand your awareness and help you like um, shift trapped emotions and alleviate like deep levels of traumatic things we've all held on to. So there's like a full range of what the breath can actually do for you.
Well, give us a couple of those so we can experience that. And I do have to say, if you guys are driving in the car right now, don't do this while you're driving. Just you may want to pull over.
Right.
But yeah,
Yes. Make sure you're safe.
give us a couple of examples here.
So, one thing to do if you're finding yourself in a very high stress moment, like you're in traffic, this is actually something you can do while driving.
Oh
If you're
yes.
in traffic and it suddenly becomes very, very intense for you, unexpected stress comes. It's hard to think of a solution. We usually just hit the panic mode and we go into default. But if you can use just a tiny bit of awareness and focus on your exhale, if you can do a really long, slow exhale, that tells your body that you're safe, and it will put you into a state, and the parasympathetic nervous system will activate and it'll put you in a state of rest and calm and relaxation really quickly. So when I'm in high stress and I try to do a slow exhale, a long exhale, sometimes it's only 3 seconds long. And then I'm like, oh, I'm super duper stressed. So just
Wow.
for a second, just try, see how long of an exhale you can do.
All right, I'm going to do it right now. You
Yeah.
guys do it with us. You ready? Okay, here
Take
I
a
come.
deep breath in.
Okay.
And then how long can you exhale?
Well, that was good.
Yeah, pretty good. You're pretty cool. So the goal is to get your exhale length to be about twice as long as your inhale length.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so there's a breath pattern that we call the cadence of bliss, and it brings you to that blissful state, and you do an inhale for the count of 4, hold for the count of 7, and then exhale for the count of 9. And if you do that a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, it will shift your mood pretty dramatically.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah. Because you're in that hold part, right? So that holding with full lungs,
Yeah.
and the fuller you get your lungs in the first place, the deeper that inhale, the more effective it is.
So I'm getting more oxygen in my body and filling up my lungs with. Oh,
And you're holding it, and you're awakening those brain cells. And then when you do the long, slow exhale, you're signaling safety to your body. If you're being chased by a bear, you do not have the luxury of a slow exhale. You're right, running down the road, being chased. So if you can actually breathe a slow, slow, slow exhale, your
yeah.
body says, oh, hey, we must be safe. Okay, things must be good. We're going to calm down.
I have a frame of reference to that last statement because I have been chased by a bear in Kings Canyon National Park, uh,
My.
and it was exciting. The bear had a red tag in his ear, and
Mm,
I decided not to walk down all of these switchbacks. I just ran straight down, and
just get out of
the bear
it.
decided to follow me. And let's just say the rangers had a good time with the bear. But it's interesting you use that analogy because I've experienced that. And you know what? I was breathing a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I
And
know
the
that
interesting,
sensation.
yeah, one of the really interesting things about that is when you do have a physical threat and you're being chased by a bear, like you were, and
Yeah,
you breathe very quickly, right? And you're moving as fast as you can, your body does things to protect you through that process. It automatically just shifts in. It's a good thing we don't have to think about it, and it just
yeah.
happens. So you start breathing shallow and you breathe really fast, and you're actually building up the CO2 in your body,
Mm,
and your limbs get all of the energy they need, but your digestion slows, your heart rate increases, and all of the things that are not necessary for preserving your life kind of go on pause mode.
really?
And then the CO2 that's increasing in your bloodstream because of that shallow, fast breathing actually sends more oxygen to your limbs. It makes it so that they can absorb more oxygen. The problem is we don't get chased by bears every day, but we get put into that mode by the email, by the customer, the angry boss, the kids screaming in the background, and then we get stuck there. And then what do you do when you're stuck? Then you can't process, you don't digest your food very well, you don't problem solve very well. You start to have other biological things that they go wrong, but you're ready to run.
Yes, I can relate to that. So, Wendy, um, how can we use this in our business? How can we use
Hmm.
this to help us out in our business, in my sales, our marketing, our team leadership, and so on and so forth? So, how do we use this technique?
One of the things I really enjoy doing that I've been doing this for the last 3 years is working, maybe longer. I remember. Working with corporate groups and sales leaders, corporate leaders, one-on-one and in groups. So we've done some events where we bring in like the whole sales team and we teach them these techniques to optimize their breathing to help them in their individual roles within a company. We work with them on the things to do with like the stress management in the moment and also the things to help them get through those blocks. I've been a salesperson. Most of you, if you're self-employed, when
Yeah.
you're starting an entrepreneur, when you're starting a business, you're everything, you wear all the hats. And sales is a mindset game. It's all about your mindset. And if you have like these stressful blocks about money, about your worth, about whatever you're selling, like whatever those blocks are, you're going to have like a ceiling, you're going to have a limit to how far you can go. So the deeper dive breath work sessions that we do that help you unlock some of those blocks, I've seen them have dramatic effects in individuals' lives who are doing really well. They're leading, they're selling, they're killing it. Um, but they didn't even realize how great they could be once they moved some of those limiting beliefs out of the way, some of those old traumas that told them, um, you're good, but you're not great. Or you can go here, but you can't go there. Or whatever those are, those voices in your head that keep you stuck and small. The deep dive breathworks will help you shift and move out of those. So I love leading breathwork for corporate groups, business people, individuals who are trying to achieve higher success in their life. It's fantastic.
It
It's
is.
just such a door opening experience.
So I can see where it would actually help to um, awaken the greater awareness that lies within each and every single one of us. And all of a sudden, you're like what I experienced. Wow, I didn't know that I could do that. Wow, I really did that. And I think that kind of once you're successful once in something like that, and you realize you can do something, you want to do more of it, and you want to continue to work to attain greater heights. So I think that's pretty incredible. Do
It
you
is.
I've worked with some Reiki gurus. In fact, we've
Mm.
had some guys like that on the show. Um, is that something? And one of the things that he would talk about was the breathing and all that. Do you work with people like that, or are there some similarities in that genre?
Absolutely. It's all really connected. I'm also a certified energy healing practitioner. And so the energy is all part of it. There's the science behind all of the breath and the energy. We're all connected, and the energy flows, and where you're working with one thing, there's no disconnect. It's just what are you focused on. So if you're focused on the breath, the energy is moving, whether you're aware of it or not. And when you're moving the energy, your breath plays a huge part of it. So a Reiki master will focus on the energy piece, but they'll have the breath be a part of it. I collaborate with other facilitators as well. We do retreats together, and everybody brings their magic and their genius and does their part. I'm doing an event this weekend where I'm leading the breath, and then someone else is doing yoga, and then another person is doing sound healing. So there's like these combinations that flow really beautifully together.
Wow. So that's really intriguing. You know what? When we get done with the show today, I should refer this guy to you. Um, in fact, his name is Brian Powers. He's down there in Laguna. In fact, Brian, are you? He's probably listening today.
Right.
And I think you guys would be good power partners or collaborators, even though he's in the Orange County area. And I'm sure there's some ways that you guys could collaborate. Since you mentioned those things, that's pretty
Absolutely.
exciting.
Yeah,
I did a session with Brian a couple of times, and I'm telling you, this stuff really works. In the
it does.
beginning, I'm thinking, oh yeah, this looks a little woo 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 to me. Yeah, go ahead and align my energy and breathe this and just. But you know what? I found it actually works, and I'm going to go one step further. I found it had healing properties as well.
Absolutely.
It actually helped heal part of my body. I have to tell you this very quickly. So I was down in Dana Point, and I'm walking on the reef on the big rocks. And even though the sign says don't walk on the big rocks, it's wet. I slip, I crash, I have this big gash in my left arm. And so I went and saw Brian. He goes, "Oh, well, here, let's do these things." I'm not going to go into all the details, but let's say it was a combination of breathing and some energy healing and some sound. I'll take 3 days. That thing was healed.
That's amazing.
3 days. So I'm actually, I've been converted. And
you
no, it was
know,
cool.
it's all it's all energy, right? And
Right.
we just have different labels for it. So if you were to put a salve on there that you got at the pharmacy, that's the energy of those components that are doing what they do. And we, as humans, we have to put labels and names and divisions and categories to things. But in reality, it's all just energy.
Yeah.
And we're part of it. Like we're everything is a part of the creation of the planet. You are, and the plants are, and the energy, and Brian, and the breath, the air that you breathe, and
Yeah.
all of that, it's all connected.
It's pretty impressive, very impressive. So we've got a couple of minutes left here. So, Wendy, tell us how we can get a hold of you if we want to experience the magic of breath work facilitation.
Well, I'm all over social media as Wendy Wylde, and I spell my last name Wylde, like Oscar Wilde, the author.
Yeah.
Um, And so my website is wildatheart.com. I'm on Instagram, mostly on Instagram. The website, I keep a running list of the upcoming events that are happening in person, and then you can schedule a one-on-one session. If you want to talk about doing a group, you can always give me a call. I still have my Hawaii phone number, which is 808-347-1133. Who could give up that phone number? I
No
mean,
one.
the magic numbers of 1133 and then it's Hawaii. So
Yes.
that's going to stick with me for a while.
I,
Just find me. I'm out there.
I want to let people know that you are going to be one of the speakers at the 2026 Year of the Woman with the Embrace Womanhood event that's being put on by our good friend Nurse Melinda Goodwin. And I believe that you're going to be speaking, is it January the 8th? at
Yes.
at
Yes.
the at the Year of the Woman event. You're going to be talking about mindful intentions, and if you guys, you need to register for this online. So go to eventbrite.com, and you need to search for the 2026 Year of the Woman. Embrace Womanhood, and you need to register for the events. In fact, register for the one on January 8th, and you can stop by. You can say hi to Wendy and have her
Yeah.
analyze your breath. I think that would be great.
Yeah. I also have a link to that on my website. So
Great. That's Wendy, WYLDE.com. Wendy, thanks so much for being my special guest today. You've been a joy and a delight. We'll see you guys again next time with another exciting adventure, and make it easy for people to give you money.